Hi, Celestine. Hey, we're going to have a cool topic to end off on our session, and
Okay.
that's about being joyful. Hi, Erik. I love you, sweetie, honey bun. Miss you. Come
Hi,
sit in my
Mama.
come sit in my lap like you used to. Even as old as 17, I would pat on my legs. Come on, sit to mommy. And you would sit in my lap and we'd snuggle. It was so embarrassing for you. Oh well.
He
Mother's
just
right.
rolled his eyes so
Mother's
hard
right.
he
I
spit out
know.
his own butt.
The mother's right. Okay,
I agree.
so yeah, what more can we ask for in life than feeling joy? And all through my life, because I had a very horrific childhood, I did not know what joy felt like because I never thought I experienced it. And so I thought, well, my life is joyless because, and I've had many hardships and tragedies that not just Eric's death, but a lot more. And and so I had this idealized version in my mind of what joy is. Like this, I thought it was like you feel euphoric and stuff. So, but maybe that's not really true. So, first of all, define for me what joy is. It's not like rolling around in a meadow with some nice little soft puppies and just feeling euphoric, because I don't feel that way ever.
He just told me that joy is being at peace with yourself.
Ah, powerful,
hmm
very powerful.
That's very powerful. He says, everybody's different experience leads them to a different version of joy. He says, but the most basic definition that I can give anybody, the feeling of joy is being at peace with yourself. Because if you're at peace with yourself, the whole world is right. And how much better can you get than that?
True. Well, how do you get there?
He says that's a different path for a lot of people, Mom. And he says, the sad part is that so many people don't remember how to be joyful because life is so heavy. And
I mean, I don't. I don't. So I'm one of them peeps.
one of those peeps. Well, do you remember, Mom, when I first learned how to ride a bike?
Oh yeah.
Remember, I had the training wheels on the back, and the first time I went down the driveway, do you remember how I reacted? He says, it was the best feeling I ever felt. I
Oh.
felt like freedom. And he
Oh.
goes, I felt like the biggest fucking kid around. I couldn't even believe it. It was so amazing.
Hmm. You
He,
liked wheels, man.
he liked wheels. And he said he could feel you and Runa watching from behind.
Right?
And he says, because you haven't felt that experience of joy for yourself, Mom, you have experienced that through me,
Yeah.
through Lucas, through Michelle, through all your kids,
Hmm.
through Arlene, through the new grandbaby. So people that don't feel like they've ever experienced joy in their life for themselves can reach for that experience if it's with their grandkid, if it's with their child. He says, there are a lot of people that feel like they don't have that joyful experience, and I would ask them to sit down and make a list of things that they have that their next door neighbor doesn't, that you know, that their coworker doesn't. He says there's always something to be happy and joyful for, and that's a start. So he says the next thing I'm going to remind you of, Mom, is when you bought me the dirt bike.
Oh yeah.
The
Oh wow.
dirt bike.
That was big.
That
Oh.
was huge. He says that was joy, unbridled joy.
Oh.
I felt like felt like I was the king of the fucking world, he says.
I know. Yeah.
Anywhere, I could do anything.
Mm.
And that's joy. And you saw that joy.
Well, that's one thing that for me, it's because I couldn't really define joy in my own right.
hmm
I find joy vicariously through the people I love.
hmm
And I guess that's okay. Joy is joy, wherever it comes from.
hmm He's mumbling again, but again, so what he was telling me and what he was showing me all weekend long about being joyful is that we all get it from a different place. Gratitude is the first place. If you can't find it somewhere else, he says, go volunteer. Volunteer at your homeless shelter, volunteer at the animal shelter. He says, just smile at a homeless person walking down the street. He says, that could bring them joy. That could bring you joy. He says, it's all about getting out of yourself here.
Out of your head.
Out of your head, out of your problems or what you conceive your problems, and finding your soul. Your soul is joy.
And, if you do facilitate joy in somebody else, obviously we are part of a collective. We're all one.
Mm-hmm.
So if you give joy to someone, of course, that is going to be reflected back as joy for yourself.
He says yes, and that's a great way to put it. And it's a great way to start for those of us who don't know how to feel it or don't believe that they feel it for themselves.
Yeah.
So he's asking me, Mom, are you telling me that you didn't feel joy the first time you held Arlene?
Oh, of course I did.
There's a joyous moment.
Yeah. They have been just far and few between. But also, I wasn't really sure how to label joy. Like, joy, is it a feeling of contentment and nurturing and compassion? To me, I always had in my mind that joy was like, whoa, man, fireworks and euphoria and oh my God. And, I haven't really felt that ever.
Well, he says it can be like that, but don't forget that's a fleeting moment.
Well, that's true.
That's a fleeting moment, but have you ever stopped feeling joy from being around Arlene?
Oh, no. Of course not. Unless she's a brat. But she never is, though. She never is.
He's really gone like this, like he loves her so much.
Oh, she's awesome. But, one thing that helps me get through my darkest moments is that saying, and I don't know where I got it, but that, if you feel like your life sucks, just remember that your life is someone else's fairy tale. It is. I mean, there are kids in India that are like 8 years old, orphans, taking care of their 2-year-old brother, living on the streets and stuff. So, yeah, I mean, it's like we have to remember that. It's a matter of perspective. And I think almost everything is a matter of perspective, You can tweak your perspective and be happy and kind of like lower your expectations. Those two things kind of happen. So...
And he says, you know what, Mom, you're absolutely right. He says, when you're feeling sorry for yourself, that's when to remember about the poor kids that are taking care of each other that have no parents and they're 2 and 4 years old. And then, then there's the parent that's sitting next to their kid in the cancer ward at the children's hospital that they don't know if they're going to make it overnight. There's so much to be joyful for in our lives. And it's all different. It's all a matter of perspective, he says. But true joyfulness is your soul being at peace with yourself. He says everything else will stem from that, from being joyful. And if you can't remember, because so many people can't remember, try out different things. Try out different hobbies. Go hold babies at the hospital. Volunteer at Ronald McDonald.
That. Yeah.
Right? Volunteer at Ronald McDonald House. He says paint. Whatever it is you feel like you might want to try, he says go for it. You never know what you're going to stumble upon.
All right. Well, one last question before we close. How does one find peace with themselves? What are the ingredients for that?
Well, Mom, this is harder than all the other questions you have ever asked me.
I aim to please.
Bar none, he says. He says, again, it's so subjective, but problem with finding peace with yourself is that the person, when you go inward, starts to stumble upon some hurt that they haven't dealt with. And that's usually the stumbling block. He says, as corny as this sounds, the first way to find inner peace is to forgive anything and everything that you might have felt wronged you in your lifetime and to let that go.
Mm.
He says, once you can find that all forgivingness, you'll be able to get down to the core and work it out. He says, what you do is you figure it out first. What is it that's bothering you, if anything? The second thing is you make peace with it in your mind. Just, was there anything else I could do about it? Well, no, then why am I torturing myself?
Yeah.
Right? He says, and then you move on. You can't live there.
Yeah.
That is the entire secret to it. You can't live there.
Yeah.
Moving forward. He says, and it takes work, and a lot of people don't want to do that work because it hurts. It's painful work, going deep down inside and analyzing. Everybody will make their lives so busy and they'll keep going and going and going, but they do that because they don't want to deal with what's happening inside.
But then you can look at the painful moments in your life, the ones that you need to forgive, etc., and find the kernel of value in it. And there's always value in every painful moment in your life, and just show gratitude for it. For example, my childhood was so bad. I mean, we were talking broken skulls, homelessness, things like that, really bad. And I processed it and got over it, healed from it, because I realized that I learned how to be assertive. I learned how to be compassionate. I learned how to love. I learned how to nurture. I learned how to be a better mother. I probably would not have been as good a mother as I was if I had not had that childhood. So I'm kind of grateful for it, really. And I mean, that sounds sick, but I'm really happy that I had that hardship. And so I think that if you want to be at peace with yourself, then find the painful moments of your life, find value in it, embrace it, be grateful for it, and then let it go.
Ding, 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 ding. Erik says, I love it. That's absolutely, positively correct, Mom. That's how you do it. That's how you make peace with yourself.
That's awesome. All right. I love you guys. And thank you guys, everybody, for watching. Thank you, Celestine, for being such an awesome voice for Erik. Thank you, Erik. I just hug you, and I miss you so much.
Oh, Mom, I hug you a lot, he says.
I know. I feel
it. Okay.
I feel it.
He's glad. He just loves you so much, man. I get this overwhelming sense of love. Sometimes he overwhelms me to the point where I cry. And that's how much he loves you. Not because I'm sad, but I'm just like...
It's just a lot of energy, emotional energy.
It is so much love. Yes. He's awesome.
He is. And you are too. But thank you so much for this. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. Anytime. I'm always available. You let me know and I'll figure out the time difference, hopefully.
Okay, girl. Thank you.
Love ya.
Love you.
Take care.
You too.
Thanks. Bye.